Before philosophy became a study of ethics, politics, and logic, it's begun with a much deeper question. What is the universe made of? In ancient Greece, before thinkers like Socrates, a group of philosophers emerged who tried to explain the world not through myth or gods, but through reason and observation. These thinkers are known as the Pre-Socratic philosophers. They are not concerned with morality or society. Instead, they ask, what is the fundamental nature of reality? What is the origin of everything? Is change real or just an illusion? This shift from myth to reason marks the true beginning of philosophy and science. Let's first know about the Ionian school. The Ionian school referred to the earliest group of Greek philosophers from the region of Ionia, who initiated a radical shift from mythological explanation of the world to rational, naturalistic inquiry. Thinkers like Thales of Miletus, Anaximander, and Anaximenes of Miletus are central figures in this movement. Philosophically, the Ionians are concerned with identifying the archē, the fundamental principle or substance underlying all reality. Each philosopher proposed a different answer: water, the boundless, aprion, and air. But what unites them is their method. They sought logical, observable explanation rather than relying on mythology or divine narratives. Their importance lies in establishing the ideas that the universe is ordered, intelligible, and governed by natural law, and that human reason can uncover this principle. This marked the birth of natural philosophy, laying the foundation for both later philosophy and the development of science. Now let's talk about Thales of Miletus. Thales of Miletus is often regarded as the starting point of Western philosophy because he shifted the explanation of the world from myth to reason. Instead of relying on gods or divine stories, Thales sought a rational principle, archē, that could explain the nature of everything. He proposed that water is the fundamental substance underlying all reality, not merely as a physical claim, but as an attempt to identify a unifying principle behind the diversity of the world. Philosophically, this move is significant because it introduced the idea that the universe is intelligible and governed by natural laws rather than arbitrary divine action. Thales' claim about water can be understood symbolically. He observed that water exists in different states: liquid, solid, vapor, and is essential for life, suggesting an early intuition about transformation and unity. More importantly, his approach represents the birth of natural philosophy, where explanation depends on observation, reasoning, and abstraction. He also held that everything is full of gods, which may seem contradictory, but philosophically it suggests that nature itself is alive or imbued with a kind of animating principle rather than being separate from the divine. This reflects an early form of hylozoism, the idea that matter and life are not fundamentally distinct. In essence, Thales' importance lies less in the correctness of his conclusion and more in his method. He inaugurated a way of thinking that seeks rational unity behind apparent diversity, laying the groundwork for later philosophers to ask not just what exists, but why and how it exists. Let's talk about Anaximander. Anaximander, a successor to Thales of Miletus, proposed that the fundamental principle archē of reality is not a specific element like water or air, but the aprion, the boundless or indefinite. Philosophically, this is a major advance because he recognized that no single familiar substance could explain all opposites in nature, like hot and cold, wet and dry. Instead, the aprion is a finite, infinite source from which all things emerge and to which they return. It is eternal, ungenerated, and encompasses all possibilities. He also introduced an early ideas of cosmic order and justice, suggesting that things arise and pass away according to a kind of necessity, maintaining balance in the universe. In short, Anaximander moves beyond concrete substance to a more abstract principle, making reality something deeper and less directly observable, and pushing philosophy towards a more conceptual and metaphysical understanding of the world. Next Ionian philosopher is Anaximenes. Anaximenes of Miletus is successor to Thales of Miletus, and Anaximenes proposed that the fundamental principle archē of the universe is air. Unlike his predecessor, he tried to explain not just what the basic substance is, but also how change and diversity arise from it. He argued that through process of rarefaction and condensation, air transforms into different form. When it becomes more rarefied, it's turned into fire. When it condenses, it's become wind, cloud, water, earth, and eventually stone. This is philosophically important because it introduces a mechanism of transformation, making change a natural and continuous process rather than something mysterious. Anaximenes also associated air with life and soul, suggesting that just as breath sustains human life, air sustains the cosmos. This reflects an early attempt to connect the microcosm, human being, with a macrocosm, the universe. In essence, his contribution lies in moving closer to a scientific outlook. He not only identified at basic substance but also explained the process that generates the diversity of the world, making reality both unified and dynamically changing. Let's talk about Anaxagoras. Anaxagoras stand out among early Greek thinkers for introducing a more sophisticated explanation of reality that combines material plurality with an organizing intelligence. He rejects the idea that a single substance like water or air is the basis of everything, and instead argues that the world is made up of infinitely many tiny ingredients or seeds, spermata, each containing portion of all qualities. Everything is in everything, but in different proportion. What makes his philosophy distinctive in his introduction of Nous as a separate, pure, and intelligent force that set the cosmos in motion and organize this mixed element into a structured world. Unlike earlier thinkers who rely solely on material principle, Anaxagoras proposed that order requires intelligence, making Nous the first clear philosophical concept of a governing rational mind in the universe. Philosophically, this marked an important shift. Reality is not just material, but also rationally structured, and the cosmos is shaped by an intentional principle rather than random process alone. Even though later philosophers criticize him for not fully developing the role of Nous, his idea opened the path towards understanding the universe as both intelligent and purposive, influencing thinkers like Socrates and Plato. Let's talk about Pythagoras. Pythagoras represents a major shift in early Greek philosophy by proposing that the ultimate nature of reality is not a physical substance, but number and mathematical order. For him, numbers are not just tools for counting, they are the very essence of things, underlying the structure, a harmony of the cosmos. Philosophically, Pythagoras introduced the idea that reality is abstract and intelligible, accessible through reason rather than the sense alone. He observed mathematical patterns in music and nature, concluding that the universe operates according to harmonious ratios, often described as the harmony of the spheres. He also combined philosophy with a spiritual outlook, believing in the immortality and transmigration of soul, reincarnation, and promoting a disciplined way of life aimed at purification. This blend of mathematics, metaphysics, and ethics make his thought unique. In essence, Pythagoras' importance lies in shifting philosophy toward abstraction and formal structure, showing that the deepest reality may be understood through mathematical relationship rather than material element. Now talk about Parmenides. Parmenides introduced a radically different direction in philosophy by arguing that reality is one, unchanging and eternal. He claimed that true being, what is, cannot come into existence or pass away, because that would require coming from or going into non-being, which he considered impossible. For this, Parmenides concludes that change, motion, and plurality are illusions of the senses, not features of true reality. He sharply distinguishes between the way of truth, grasped by reason, which reveals a single, unchanging being, and the way of opinion based on sensory experience, which misleads us into believing in change and diversity. Philosophically, his importance lies in elevating reason over sensory experience and forcing later thinkers to confront a deep problem. How can change and multiplicity exist if reality is fundamentally one and unchanging? His ideas strongly influenced later philosophers like Plato, shaping the development of metaphysics by emphasizing logic, consistency, and the nature of being itself. Let's know Heraclitus. Heraclitus is known for his doctrine that reality is in constant change, often summarized by the idea that you cannot step into the same river twice. For him, everything is in a state of flux, and stability is only an appearance. Unlike philosophers who sought a fixed underlying substance, Heraclitus saw change itself as fundamental. He identified fire as a symbol of this ever-living process, represent transformation and continuous activity rather than a static element. At the same time, he introduced the concept of logos, a rational principle that order and govern this constant change. This means that although the world is always changing, it is not chaotic. It follows a deeper hidden harmony or rational structure. Philosophically, Heraclitus highlights the unity of opposites, such as life and death, day and night, arguing that tension between opposites is what sustains the world. His thought stands in sharp contrast to Parmenides, making him central to the early debate about whether reality is fundamentally change or permanence. Democritus developed one of the earliest and most influential theories of atomism, arguing that all reality consists of tiny, indivisible particles called atoms moving in empty space, the void. These atoms differ in shape, size, and arrangement, and the diversity of the world arises from their combination and rearrangement. Philosophically, Democritus offered a fully materialistic explanation of the universe. Everything, including the soul, is made of atoms, leaving no need for divine intervention or teleological purpose. Change, for him, is simply the reorganization of atom, not the creation or destruction of being. He also distinguished between true knowledge gained through reason, understanding atom and the void, and conventional knowledge based on the senses, which can be misleading. This reflects a deeper insight that appearances do not reveal the ultimate nature of reality. In essence, Democritus' importance lies in presenting a mechanistic and scientific view of the world, where natural laws and physical processes explain everything, anticipating later development in science and philosophy. Let's compare all the thinkers covered in this video. A useful way to compare this early thinker is to see how they each tried to answer the same basic question, what is the ultimate nature of reality, but gave very different kind of answer. The Ionian thinker like Thales, Anaximenes and Anaximander focus on material unity. They believe there must be a single underlying substance, water, air, or the indefinite empyrean, from which everything emerged. This main contribution was introducing naturalistic explanation the world without mythology. In contrast, Pythagoras shifts the focus from material to abstract reality, claiming that numbers and mathematical relation are the true essence of things. This marked a move toward understanding the world through form and substance rather than substance. Form and structure rather than substance. A sharp philosophical conflict appeared between Heraclitus and Parmenides. Heraclitus argued that change is fundamental and reality is constant flux, which Parmenides insists that change is impossible and reality is one, unchanging being. This opposition creates a central problem in philosophy: how to reconcile change with permanence. Anaxagoras tried to move beyond simple material explanation by introducing Nous, mind, as an organized principle, combining matter with intelligence. Meanwhile, Democritus offered a different solution through atomism, explaining both unity and diversity by atoms and void, without invoking any guiding mind. Overall, the progress moved from simple material principle, Ionians, to abstract and mathematical reality, Pythagoras, to metaphysical debate on change versus permanence, Heraclitus versus Parmenides, to more complex system combining plurality, motion and explanation, Anaxagoras and Democritus. Together, they laid the foundation for later philosophy by transforming the question of reality into a problem of reason, structure and explanation rather than myth. In conclusion, the pre-Socratic philosophers changed human thought forever. They replaced myth with reason. Search for universal principle laid the foundation for philosophy and science. Their influence can be seen in Plato, Aristotle. Even today, their questions remain: what is reality? Is change real? What is the universe made of? From water to atoms, from number to pure being, the pre-Socrates did not just ask questions, they changed the way humanity think. If you are still watching, I hope you are finding this content useful. Please like and share this video, subscribe to the channel and share your thought in the comment. Your support motivates me to create even more content like this.